What's up, YouTube peoples? Just gotta say, I'm freaking sick of working for other people to make them money, man. Because now I'm heading back to on the day shifts after working 3 months in rotation onto the night shift. And this waking up in the morning, switching my whole sleep schedule around, all to sit there and work for an hourly wage. It just, man, it burns you out. Like I am absolutely torqued right now. I'm so sick of just dealing with all the corporate BS, having bosses sit there and whine and complain and moan about every little tiny thing. They'll get on my case about something that they misunderstood and start chastising me, and I have to explain my situation to them like I'm a little kid. And it's pathetic. Now here I am once again ranting and raving, and it's morning time where normally I'd just be getting home at this hour and trying to switch from that lifestyle. I'm a morning person too, which kills me. The fact that I went through 3 months of this night shift only to have my, I don't know what they call it, the circadian rhythm all switched and flipped. Now I'm exhausted getting up early in the morning. It just reminds me that if all of y'all are in a position where you can work for yourself and make a good living wage, enough that you can not only pay all your bills, but you can put away some kind of savings and potentially even stockpile good items, man, avoid getting an hourly job, because I am burnt out. And unfortunately, I have children, and not unfortunate for my life, but as far as my work schedule, I do have to make enough money to make sure those children are provided for. I have to pay extra in bills because it's not just me and my wife, fiance, where we can just keep the temperature turned down and the two of us just wear extra clothes, no big deal. We not only have a 4-year-old, but we have an infant. And when you have young children like that, you can't expect them to suffer and be sick all the time from being cold. It's one thing as an adult to be cold. You can stay pretty decently cold and not actually end up getting sick all the time. I know from living proof of living in a very, very cold farmhouse the vast majority of my life as I was growing up as a young adult. By the time I was 8 years old, I moved into a cold farmhouse where the only source of heat was the fireplace. And it was a poorly insulated house on top of that too. So when I slept in my own bedroom and not out in the living room, it was nasty cold. You had to be double blanket. And you made sure to wear a nice pair of socks too as well. All things considered though, even though I'm struggling with this transition, I picked this lifestyle. I mean, I'm going to own it as much as I want to rant and I want to whine and complain because it just sucks. You know, sometimes you got to embrace the suck. I'm not one of those guys that has that like Jocko Willings mindset where it's like your woman divorced you, your kids got hit by a car, your dog got shot by your neighbor. Good, do some more push-ups. I'm not into that stupid shit. But when it comes to sometimes life, you just got to put on, you know? You got to put on your boots one at a time. You got to put on your smile a little bit. You just got to keep moving forward. I am in that mindset. And especially because I chose to work in the field that I work in. Because I'm a welder. So I spend all day just absolutely banging it out in the heat. And I'm in this temperature change now too, where we're going from wicked hot to just icy cold in a pretty short amount of time. When you go from just downpour sweating all the time to your hands being nippy, My toes do fine because I got good socks, but your body's kind of getting stung by that cold in the morning. Excuse me. And it's not when I'm coming home at night. It's when I'm getting up in the morning. So now I'm heading to work in the bitter and the cold. It's bizarre. This transitional period of just moving in between my day shift and night shift of my job, it's so taxing on my mental that I'm curious to see what lies ahead. But I just wanted to, I don't know, I think I'm just getting my thoughts out is all really. But I don't mind sharing with everyone else because who knows, maybe somebody else is feeling the way I feel, and maybe there's a tip or a trick that you've learned that just settles these things out. You know, I'm a believer, so to me, I lean into my faith. I'm not very strong in my faith. I've only recently been on a repentance life set, so things are kind of changing. I'm getting convicted and whatnot, but I still, in most situations, I'm trying to lean on just my faith to move me forward in the positive ways and to be willing and open to let go of the things that don't do me any good. I don't know, maybe some other people out there are going through it too and struggling the way that I'm struggling, seeing things the same light. Really, all in all, this is just another one of those me talking at you and ranting and raving. As you can tell, I mean, I've only mentioned it probably 50 times at this point. But in the status that I'm in right now, I just purchased a nice truck in an auction for wicked killer deal. But it set my finances back a lot. And I've struggled with that quite a bit because I'm the type of person that, man, when a deal is a really, really good deal, it's hard for me to imagine not getting whatever item it is for the insanely good rate. And I see this truck that's even at the cheapest point I've found it is like $16,000 truck, and I only spent $3,500 on it. I'm probably going to have to spend about another $500 to $600 to get somebody to ship it all the way to my home state, because it currently is in a different state than the one that I'm living in. But I couldn't pass it up. It's a Toyota Tundra, and it's a 2011 model. So the pricing on it's just insane. And the only issue with it is it has some sort of battery issue. They were jump starting it and they could get it to run and drive no problems at all. But the second they'd turn it off, the next time they'd go to start it back up, there'd be no power. So I'm guessing that it's probably either the battery itself, the cell is just completely drained, and when they would jump start it, the alternator's what's keeping it going, or somewhere in the wiring there's a short, something's drawing power and staying on when it's not supposed to. So I'll just have to go through a lot of it to my knowledge, and if I can find it on my knowledge level, then awesome. But I've also got a pretty good mechanic that he's a longtime friend, and he charges me a pretty normal rate, so I'm not like getting any pro bono kickback for it being a friend. But I don't mind paying a friend, And I know that if something went wrong and I take it back to him and it was his fault, he's not going to try and yank me around and give me a bunch of BS about how it's my fault that he screwed something up. He's going to just fix it. So that's one really nice thing, is having a mechanic that's honest. Because honesty with your mechanic is an uncommon thing nowadays. It really doesn't seem like a lot of people have that integrity. But anywho, shoot, I almost forgot where I was going with that. I remember now. What I was going to mention is I had a pretty solid savings going on. I had relatively about $2,000 set back. So I was starting to build me up a nice little emergency fund and chiseling away at it. And I've been investing because my company has a 401k. So I'm trying to put money back into a Roth and a traditional 401k. That way, by the time I retire, if the market hasn't absolutely completely pissed itself out, I'll have a nice little set of money there too. And I constantly try to pick up stockpile items almost every time I go to the store. Sometimes it's something really insignificant like a 5-pack of lighters. But almost every time I go to the store, I try to get something for the stockpile. And when I get on Amazon, I usually do bundles where whatever I need, I try to buy like 2 or 3 items off of my saved list with that item, so that I'm making sure that I'm moving forward on the items that I've checklisted and set up as like stockpile items. And I'd highly encourage any of you that are still listening at this point and haven't clicked out, if you have items that you've saved aside in like your wish list and whatnot, every chance you get to pick another item off that wish list, even if it's you grab another $5 item with the $10 item that you're buying, you just keep moving forward. We've got a lot of things that we need to make growth on. I made that little video about how I think growth is one of the most important preps out there. And I think it goes without saying that every time you make forward momentum with some sort of purchase, you are growing. I think that you should grow in every way possible, so you should be working on yourself as well. And that comes to these kind of moments for me. Because right now I'm wicked tired, which is kind of nice talking this video with you guys, because it's actually keeping me a little bit more focused instead of just being in the quiet by myself driving to work. I think that each and every one of us sees this tide that's coming, where there's a million different bubbles that are bursting in the market. There's this insane deflation of the dollar. The wages just really are not moving up as the dollar deflates. Because I don't know about you guys, but it feels like it's a good about 10% inflation every year. When I look at the price of what it costs for something, it seems like it's about 10%. Some things are worse. Some things are like 20%. I've had a few things that they've gone up basically 100% in the last like 4 years. So I don't know the quick math on that. I guess it'd be about 25% inflation. There's probably some compounding in there somewhere. But the way I'm looking at it is my wages, they really don't climb nearly as fast as this dollar is deflating. And so I really don't know what to do but to just continue to put the money I have into raw things. I want to put it into food materials, ammunition. If there's a really good deal on a firearm, that's a good consideration. Jesus, this guy's lights are brutal. Thanks, buddy. Anywho, I try to put all of my excess money that I can into building up more stockpile, but I've been trying to hammer away at savings too and putting a good nest egg away. But when you come across a deal that's quote unquote life-changing, it's hard to go without it, because having something like a really nice, reliable, heavy-duty pickup truck, that's something that you can't really miss that opportunity on. Because I've got a Ford Explorer, and I can use that to tow trailers and whatnot, but it doesn't really even have a very good towing capacity, because it's not really built to be a towing vehicle. Whereas this Tundra's got the capabilities of being able to actually tow a good load. and you can put heavier springs in there and whatnot. You could put those like overload airbags and all that kind of stuff too, and you can haul an even heavier load. Having the capabilities for something like that, I've been watching guys' videos on overlanding rigs, and I'm stuck in debate because I want to make this a vehicle that both me and my wife can use to go pick stuff up when we need to. I'm at a point where I want to leave the vehicle pretty open because it's got the full-size bed. It's got the 6.6 foot bed. I want to leave that wide open so if we need to get something, I don't have to pull out some big old overland shelf that I've built into the damn thing to try and fit it in there, or I have to take my overcab off to get rid of it, or if I only end up getting just a little camper bed cover thing. But I've had some ideas about taking one of those camping inserts that you put into the bed and building sort of like a quasi loadout, like a home on a trailer kind of thing, and just slide it into the truck whenever I want to go somewhere. And this gives me that capability to do that. Whereas all of my other vehicles, they have very limited storage. Like we've got some SUVs, so they've got some storage, but we don't have anything that's got like a giant bed to fit large materials so I can bring home big construction supplies and whatnot so we can do projects. I got that truck now and I got to get it home, and when it's all said and done, now I'm rebuilding that nest egg. It just reminds me that it's like I am a victim of my own decisions. Once again, excuse me, I'm here in this morning shift, going back to the day shift after 3 months of night shift. And it's really all of my own decisions that have led me to this position. Now, I don't think that my decisions have been like really poor decisions. I think I've made some pretty good decisions along the way. But I'm trapped in this. I have to beat myself up because I don't have the motivation and the wherewithal to take the skills that I have and develop my own business, which really is where the good money's at. The good money is being your own businessman and running the company well, doing the things to make yourself profitable, including learning new skills and honing those skills in, studying under people that do it better than you do. I'm mostly just ranting and shooting shit, but I'm at that point now where I'm starting to age. You know, I'm in my early 30s, so I'm not old, but I grew up a contractor's son from a very young age. About 6 years old, I was already starting to actually break ground with him and using shovels and doing other things, helping him put parts and pieces together, doing the small things, twisting screwdrivers and learning how to use a drill and whatnot. By the time I was 8 years old, I was already working hard. And by the time I was 10 years old, I was out working a lot of the men that worked with my dad, which sucks because it burnt my body out from a very young age. I don't think I had the proper training for how to lift things correctly, how to use tools in a way that don't hurt your body. I was very brutal on my body because I didn't know what I was doing. And as I've gotten older, I've started to realize the importance of technique and safety. To me, the hallmark of a true professional is the level of safety that they have with the things they do. The safer the man is with the job, the more longevity that he's going to have in that field. Because if you're not a very safe guy, it's like the clock's ticking, man. At some point, you're going to freaking injure yourself. And sometimes it's going to be a severe injury. You're going to really jack yourself up. And And that draws into question the decisions that you're making. Everything seems to always kind of come back to, how are you approaching situations? What are you doing to mitigate problems? And at this point in my life, I'm doing the best that I can to try and mitigate my situations. I have to have a regular paycheck because I have far more bills than I would have if I was a single man or if it was just myself and just my woman. Being that we have children and her and me, it makes it to where now we have to have different considerations for how we go about things. And the children, they require a lot. They're not as expensive as people really made them out to be. I had this idea that children were like super expensive. I don't know where they get their facts from, but you got these things saying that it's like 250,000 all the way up until they're 18 to pay for everything. It's like, man, what the hell are you guys paying for are you buying the most expensive shit for your kids? You should not be doing that. They're going to grow through stuff really fast. I have to constantly get on my wife about buying too many different things for the kids. The baby, she's still a baby, so there's really not a whole lot we buy for her other than little squishy toys and stuff. But for the son, she like, it took her a while to get in this mindset of she can't just buy him a new toy every time they go to the frickin' store. And honestly, his behavior lately has been at a point where he really hasn't earned or deserved to have a toy every time they go to the store. He's been behaving very poorly. And it took a while for her to understand. It's like, he's got hundreds of toys that he doesn't play with on a day in, day out basis. He doesn't need another one. But that's nothing really that important. That's just learning, you know. We all go through that. She loves her son, so it's completely understandable. It's just, I think she needed a little bit outside perspective on that, just so she could rationalize, like, why shouldn't I get my kid some more toys? But anywho, I'm here at the shop, so rant over. I've had my fun. Thank you for watching. If you've actually stayed through this whole video, awesome. If you have some comments or opinions or anything, go ahead and slap them down in the comments section. If you like this kind of stuff, give the video a like. Do all the things, you know. Give me the thumbs up, the shares, subscribe if you want to like be a part of the channel and have more content. Anywho, have a great day.